Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend, the Dreamfinder, here to set off on another grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom.
The Disneyland Limited, now leaving for a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. All passengers board.
Star Tours announces the boarding of the Endor Express. All passengers, please prepare for immediate boarding.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. To those guests who've just joined us, welcome. For those of you standing, please hold on to the handrails throughout our journey and stay clear of the door.
Please keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the train and remain seated at all times. Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
I am Sam, the American Eagle, and I am proud to introduce the Grand Circle Tour podcast, a celebration of Disney parks, but mostly the American ones. I really like these guys.
Hi, I'm Caroline Koller, and welcome to this week's episode of the Grand Circle Tour podcast. I am here with two of my favorites, George. Hey, George.
Hi, Caroline. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Hey, you got any waltz up this week?
I do. It's nothing fancy, nothing big, but I was a late bloomer. The crowds kind of went on to purchase their tickets for the highly anticipated Avengers Endgame, which I know you're not too big on Marvel or Star Wars, but I'm
happy for you, though.
Thank you. So I kind of went in late as all tickets were sold out, but lo and behold, I got 3 perfect tickets right in the center, ready for this 3-hour movie.
Wow, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great. And also joining us tonight is Jason. Hey, Jason.
Aloha, Carolyn.
How are you tonight?
I am fantastic.
Well, good. Okay, well, tonight's show is going to be kind of, well, it'll always be fun, but I really like helping people plan their trips so that they enjoy their time at Walt Disney World instead of leaving frustrated and thinking, oh, my bank account is empty and I didn't have a good time. So tonight we're going to what'd you say?
Who blabbed?
Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about the hotels at Walt Disney World. Disney World has 3 categories of resorts. They are the value resorts, the moderate resorts, and deluxe. And the way I like to think of it is like real estate. Location, location, location. So the better the location, the more expensive it's going to be. And also the amenities that are included with that. So tonight I thought we would start with the value resorts. These are the least expensive options at Walt Disney World. They are the farthest away from the parks. You will always have to take a bus to get to one of the parks. And I was just going to ask you guys, do you have opinions or ways that you like to describe the value resorts? And do you have a favorite one or least favorite one? George, you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start. The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of the value is not necessarily convenience as far as the distance between the parks, but more so convenience in the price. You know, if your family's on a budget and you want to stay on property and you're kind of not necessarily penny pinch, but you know, you're trying to figure out ways and loopholes to save money, the value resorts are definitely the way to go. Me personally, I've stayed in every value resort except All-Star Sports and Art of Animation. Now, I did visit Art of Animation when we stayed at POP because of the bridge that connects both of them. But I think, you know, a lot of people say, oh, they're, you know, on the cheap side, you know, they're the lowest, they're considered value. But I still think you get everything that you can get as far as like within a Disney World vacation package. I mean, they still offer everything, you know, even to the theme. I love the theme, especially with All-Star Movies and even Art of Animation. As I said, I haven't specifically stayed there, but I did visit the resort, and I just love how they have the different sections with The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, Finding Nemo.
Okay, great. What do you have a favorite
Um,
or least favorite?
I would say probably, and the reason why I still say Pop Century is because Pop Century has their own bus line, whereas when you stay at one of the All-Stars, either All-Star Movies, Music, or Sports, you're going to get crowds on each bus because they stop at all three resorts, and it takes longer.
Okay, good choice. Do you have a least favorite in the value
Probably
category?
All-Star Sports. I mean, even though I haven't stayed there, I can't really give like an opinion, but it just doesn't appeal to me. You know, if I'm staying at Disney, I don't really want to focus on like the sports aspect.
I will just throw this in here before we get to Jason, is that at All-Star Sports generally is where the groups, the teams, the cheerleaders, the big school groups come and stay. So it can be a little bit loud and overrun with children, groups of children that don't all have parents with them, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, Jason, what about you?
I think the value resorts are a great option. And like George said, it is not just even for the budget, not just for the budget conscious, but if you're like me and you don't plan on spending any time in your hotel room, you're going to be at the parks until you drop. Why spend that kind of money for a room you're not even going to see?
Absolutely. Wonderful point.
And the rooms aren't, yes, they're value, but they're not less than. They are great rooms. They're comfortable rooms. They're Disney. And now that they're renovating a lot of them, they're even nicer than they were before.
For sure. They're definitely small. So keep that in mind. It's a small room with small beds, but they're clean and they're cute.
And unlike the moderate or the deluxe resorts, you can decorate your windows at a value resort.
Oh, okay. That's
So
good.
if you're celebrating a birthday or an anniversary, you can tacky that window up for everyone to see.
Oh, that's a good point. I like to tell my clients, I'm a travel agent, and I like to tell my clients that the way to think of the value resorts, and when you see the price tag for the value resorts, you're going to be like, oh, really? That doesn't really seem like a value. They're not cheap, but they're the least expensive option at Disney property. But I like to think of the value resorts as a Motel 6 in that you enter from the outside. There's not a hallway. You enter from the outside, but it's clean and it's cute. So go ahead.
And it's fun.
It is fun. It's very fun. It's seen very well. And I've stayed at Art Animation, and I've stayed in those the suites. They are great. They are great because it's kind of a problem for a family that has more than 4 people in it at the values because they can only sleep 4 people. But now with the suites over at Art of Animation, there's some at Music too, but it really does help the family with more than 4 people. So just know that they are far away from the park. You're going to take a bus to where you're going, and the rooms are small. The bathroom is small. But just like Jason said, if you're not going to spend a lot of time in your room when you're there, great option. And it's also a great way, if this is your first time to stay on Disney property, this is a great way to get to do that. You get the same benefits that the people that stay at the Grand Floridian get, as far as extra magic hours and Magical Express and all the other perks of staying on Disney property.
And you get the same great service. You're not getting lesser service because you're not paying $500 a night for a room.
Absolutely. I wouldn't hesitate to stay at one ever. I never hesitate to stay there. Does anybody have anything else to add before we move to moderates?
One thing, All-Star Music is the best because they have the 3 Caballeros pool.
Awesome. Okay, let's move on to the moderate resorts. The way I describe moderate resorts to my clients, it's kind of like a Hampton Inn in that, well, it's nicer than the Motel 6. Rooms are bigger, but it's not the Ritz-Carlton. Okay. And the rooms are furnished a little bit bigger, and the amenities at the resort are nicer. Jason, you want to start and talk about the moderates? Do you have anything to say about that?
Actually, I was going to ask you, What amenities do the moderates have that the value resorts don't?
Well, they have a sit-down restaurant at the moderates. The rooms are bigger. The bathrooms are bigger. You get space and you're a little bit closer to the parks. But you're still going to take a bus to the parks, or you can take a boat over to Disney Springs from Port Orleans. Anyway, the amenities are the size of the room and the proximity to the parks is the main thing.
I will say a moderate resort, unlike a value resort, feels more like a vacation.
Yes.
They have it's not just the theming and all the other amenities and things. It's just the layout and the feel of the hotels. You definitely feel like you're on vacation, where at the value you have that go feeling.
Great observation. George, what about you?
Yeah, I agree with that. The moderate, I call it like the in-betweeny, where it's a higher end than the value, but it's still not going to break the bank as a deluxe would for people that are on a budget. So if you want to have something that's a little bit more on the higher end, but you know that you still can somewhat afford compared to the deluxe resorts, then moderate's the way to go.
You do get more space in those hotel rooms, which is nice.
Yeah. And my favorite is the Caribbean beach.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Why?
I'm just the type of person that I like more of the tropical setting. You know, anything that has to do with like a beach or an island or type thing, I just love that feel.
So you like the theming. The theming that's your favorite.
Theming of, yes,
yeah, I gotcha. Okay. Jason, do you have a particular favorite?
I do, and it's funny, George, because I'm usually like you. I like the tropical setting. I like a beach. I like to feel like I'm on an island. But when it comes to the values, I'm partial to Port Orleans. Yeah, I really like the theming there. I love the French Quarter.
It's a sanitized version of New Orleans.
Oh, thank goodness for that. You still can get beads, though.
Yes, you can, and beignets. It's cute. It's cute. It's a great way to experience New Orleans. So anyway, I would say that I'm with you on that also. Port Orleans. I'm okay with Riverside. There's Port Orleans Riverside and Port Orleans French Quarter, and I'm fine with either one of those. And those are my first choice moderate hotels to stay in.
Can I ask you real quick, what is the price jump from a value to a moderate?
Oh, it just depends on the season, the day of the week, and that kind of thing. I can like look up a specific if we have time while you guys are talking, and I can tell you. I could try to tell you that, but I don't have that information right offhand. But when I say like Disney uses these words, value, moderate, things are still not.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I remember because I like to look on the website so often. And not with every moderate resort, but compared to the value, I think sometimes it could be like a $90 difference. Like a value could be like $140 a night, and then a moderate could be $230, $235.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can even go up from there. It can go up from there. Okay, do y'all have anything else that you want to say about the moderate resorts?
Quick question for you guys: is there a moderate that you guys don't think is worth the price? That you'd rather stay in a value as opposed to that moderate?
No, I can't. I don't think I can look at it like that. But I'm not a huge fan of. Well, one thing about Caribbean Beach, it's huge over there. So you've got to know that going in. And I'm a person that when I travel, I don't mind walking. I'll walk like that is. I'm happy to walk wherever, but Caribbean Beach is huge. So I would suggest getting a preferred location room so that you're closer to the lobby and closer to the bus stops. And then Coronado Springs, they also have a convention area. So there are a lot of business people over there. So sometimes with the convention areas, it feels a little bit less Disney. Do you know what I'm saying? Because you see men and women.
That actually was mine. That was mine out of the moderates. I mean, it's one of those things where I would still stay at Coronado, but I mean, they get a lot of like suit and tie people in there at times, like when they have like, little mini expos and stuff.
Right.
Well, let me ask you guys one more question about that. If you're going as like a couple, or you're going to go meet friends and you're staying in your own room, would you say that's for someone who doesn't want to be in the family environment 24/7 but still stay on property?
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
I think you could still like pull it off as far as like with Coronado, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably still do it like in that aspect. I guess it's just more so what that you could possibly get into when staying at a resort like that. Like if you don't mind,
Right.
having like that look, if just to say if a convention is going on or business meetings are going on, if that doesn't bother you, then it's the same. I guess it's more so it's like the moderate take on how All-Star Sports is. Like if a person doesn't really mind seeing like a cheerleading team coming in or a sports team, but I guess it's just how each person wants to take it. Now, if there's a couple that doesn't like to have that at all, then I would say that would be the last moderate to go for.
Yeah, I agree. That is the last moderate that I'll go for. But like, let's say I want to go and that's the only hotel available, I'll still stay there.
Yeah. And just like with the value, for anyone that's listening, that if you want to be closer to the main lobby to get to your transportation, to get to the park sooner, always get a preferred room over standard.
Yes. Yes. And then if you're going to get a standard view, don't get mad when you get there that you're all the way in Timbuktu.
Yeah. Because I remember when I stayed at All-Star Music when I was still a rookie of learning the tricks of the trade, I just got a standard room, and I went back in the country western by the big cowboy boots. And that took about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes just to get from the room to the main lobby.
Which I'll say, I'm like you, Carolyn. I love to walk on vacation, but at the end of the day, especially at Magic Kingdom or Epcot,
right,
that's gonna be my legs are gonna be beat.
Right. Okay, I did the research while you all were talking, and this is what I was going to tell you. This is just a random day I picked. These are not absolute prices for every day. I picked a random day in July. So to stay at a value is $164 plus tax. This is for one night. To stay at a moderate, it's $247 plus tax, and to stay at a deluxe, it's $620 plus tax. So if you're not going to be in your room and this is your first step into staying at Disney resorts, go stay at a value resort so that you can wet your whistle. Now, if you're one of those deluxe people that always travel and stay at the Ritz-Carlton or whatever, then the values are not going to make you happy. So that's obviously not who we're talking to. But if you're budget minded, step into that value. Yeah, Jason.
Well, and real quick, talking about budgets, we were talking about preferred versus standard views. How much is a cost difference between those two?
Oh, God, I didn't like that.
Sorry, Carolyn.
You're making her work tonight.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we're just going to look at, okay. So at the Grand Floridian, for a garden view, it's $618. For a lagoon view, it's $10 more. And then for a theme park view, it's $100 more.
Wow.
So a lot, and generally what people pick their view on what room view is available when they want to go, because maybe that's the only view available. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, some people have to have a theme park view, and that's fine. That's generally the last view to go anyway, because it's most expensive. So did that help any, what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking now, if I'm going to pay the extra money for a theme park view, that I'm probably not going in that theme park. I just want to look at it from my window.
Right. If you're going to pay extra money, I say pay for a preferred location at the if you're staying at a value or a moderate, pay for the preferred location if you have issues getting around or you're with little children. Or if you're going to pay for a standard, do not complain when you're there because you have to walk, because that's what you signed up for. And do not complain that you are looking at a parking lot, because that's what you signed up for. Anyway, okay, does anybody else have anything to say about the moderates?
The Skyliners are coming.
Yeah, they are. They are. Okay, let's move on to deluxe resorts. These are, I compare these like a Marriott where you enter, you have a hallway to enter. The theming is way out. It's so Disney. Everything's very Disney. All of these hotels are very Disney, but it just, every notch you go up, the theming gets better. The rooms get bigger. The beds get bigger. And there are more eating options. And the best thing is you are closer to the parks. Does anybody, who wants to start with their opinion on, okay, George, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as the deluxe go, as we mentioned before, if you're not spending a lot of time at the resort or in your room or have a special occasion, like maybe going for like a big fancy dinner if you're staying at the Contemporary for the California Grill, or if you really want to fork out some of the money, Victoria and Albert's at the Grand Floridian, then that would be the way to go as far as like for the deluxe. But again, if you're out into the parks every day and you really don't want to spend that money, then the deluxe wouldn't be the kind for you. However, as far as having that top notch of theming, and I think actually Jay would agree with me that the top deluxe one for me is the Polynesian.
Oh, hands down. It's the only deluxe I'm actually interested in. The others are great, but the Poly is perfect.
Now, I personally had stayed at the Grand Floridian. We did do a theme park view. Now, the reason why we went a little bit over onto that price range is we were only just doing a weekend. So we thought, okay, well, for just the weekend, it was for our anniversary. We're not staying for a full week, so it's not going to be the length of price as if we were to stay at a value or a moderate for a week. So we did, just for the weekend, we did a theme park view at the Grand Floridian.
And how was that?
That was it was very nice, honestly. I know a lot of people have the common misconception that it's very aristocratic and, the people are stuck up. But I mean, for the times that I've been in there, they've been very welcoming, and they, just like with Disney, they bend over backwards with any type of service that you need. And we went a little bit further and we had dinner at Victoria and Albert's on our anniversary day.
And you don't have to be staying at the Grand Floridian to eat at Victoria and Albert's.
Correct.
Just for our listeners.
George, I got to ask, did you bring a sport coat or did they provide you one?
Not for me, but they actually gave Jess what was it, a shawl?
Yeah.
It was a shawl. It was like a fur shawl. Cashmere.
Why?
It gets a little chilly in there, so they offer all the women that, maybe that doesn't have like a jacket or something, if you would like a shawl.
Oh, it wasn't a dress code issue.
No.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Jason, did you want to talk about anything else about deluxes?
Well, advice I want to give with deluxe, if you're going to stay in a deluxe resort, it is definitely worth the money to stay on club level.
I'm with you 100%.
You have access to the concierge who will bend over backwards to make sure your stay is perfect. And I haven't stayed at a club level at Walt Disney World, but at Disneyland at the Grand Californian, they have a wine and cheese hour for club level.
Yeah, there are throughout the day they have hours when the club is open, and there are snacks and alcohol, and it's limited, but it's, yeah, for sure. And I don't know if I would say that the concierge is going to bend over backwards, but
yeah, but
they're pretty, I mean, they're helpful. They're very helpful, as they should be for a room that costs $700 a night. No, actually, for concierge, it's going to cost way more than that. So,
as nice as the deluxe hotels are, I love the Poly, but like I'm not going to plop down $550 just a night just to go run it back to the parks. I'm saving it for like a big anniversary.
Right.
And if I could actually just add, I think as far as like with me, what I love to do with the deluxe resorts is not actually stay there. I love to resort hop. That's like the best time to actually use the deluxe hotels, is that you could go in dine at any of their restaurants, walk around, see their gift shops, just get the lay of the land, so to speak, and don't have to fork out a dime for the room.
So I've stayed at all of the resorts at Disney World, and I'm a big fan of the deluxe resorts. And one thing I want everybody to remember is that at deluxe resorts, you are closer to the parks. So your ease of getting around is so much better. So the stress level can come down a little bit. And that's one thing when people go to Disney that they complain about, is it ends up being a very stressful vacation because they didn't have any idea or factor in the getting around. And that really can add some time to your trip. And thus it can put you behind in everything you're doing, which makes you stand in line longer if that isn't factored in. So staying at the deluxe resorts will put you closer to at least one park. One of the nice things about the Polynesian is you have great access both to the Magic Kingdom and Epcot. It's very easy to get to both of those places from the Polynesian. The Polynesian is on the monorail. It's a monorail resort. The monorail is the train that goes to the Contemporary Resort. It goes to the Polynesian and the Grand Floridian, and it's right there where the Magic Kingdom is. So if you have small children and you want to stay in a deluxe resort, or anybody that's going to spend most of their trip at the Magic Kingdom, stay at a monorail resort. It is worth the money. I'll say if you're going to stay at the Contemporary Resort, which I absolutely love, stay in the tower. It's a little bit more expensive. That's the big part. It's the part you think of when you think of the Contemporary. Don't stay in the outside buildings. You're pretty far away from getting to the monorail. Did you want to say something, George?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that for families that are staying what I call the Big Four, which is the Grand Floridian, Polynesian, Contemporary, or Wilderness Lodge, that they're adjacent right to the Magic Kingdom. However, from the experience of staying at the Grand Floridian, even if you're waiting on a bus to go to one of the other parks, it is so much less crowded than actually being at the value or the moderate, to just get almost practically the whole bus to yourself. And then, excuse me, and then also if a family is staying at Disney's Boardwalk, the convenience about that is if they don't want to wait for any transportation, Epcot and Hollywood Studios on both ends are walkable.
As with the Beach Club and Yacht Club, I would say too.
Yes.
I have a quick question for you about the Contemporary, Carolyn. Have you stayed on both sides?
Yes.
How is the view comparison from Bay Lake to Seven Seas Lagoon?
Well, what do you mean?
Like, which view is nicer? Is the, like, if you stay on the Bay Lake side, are you gonna feel like you should have stayed on the Seven Seas Lagoon side?
No, I always stay at the view that's least expensive. That's because it doesn't matter to me. But no, I don't feel like that at all. I don't feel like that at all. Do you guys have any questions about those monorail resorts?
No, the monorail only goes to those 3 resorts.
That is correct. And okay, Wilderness Lodge, that was, George, I'm glad you mentioned that. It is a Wilderness Lodge and Animal Kingdom Lodge Animal Kingdom Lodge is not near what I'm talking about, but Wilderness Lodge and Animal Kingdom Lodge are both your step up into the deluxe category. If you haven't stayed there before and you don't want to pay as much, those 2 resorts are the least expensive options in the deluxe category. The rooms are a little bit smaller. You can only sleep 4 people, but it's still, Animal Kingdom's right there at Animal Kingdom, the park, and Wilderness is a boat ride. It's not on the monorail, but it's a boat ride over to the Magic Kingdom. And they're both darling. They are darling, 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 and I highly recommend both of them. Do y'all have anything else you want to say about the Magic Kingdom area resorts?
There is a fourth option we didn't discuss, and it is the least inexpensive option. It's what I kind of want to do with the whole family is rent some campers and camp out at Fort Wilderness.
Yeah, Fort Wilderness. Okay, so you can camp there, or they also have cabins, and those cabins are considered moderate. It's in the moderate category resort. And you can sleep, I think, like 10 people in those. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's a pretty good option for a larger group. So has anybody stayed over there?
Not yet, but
I would like to.
It's kind of I think I have in my head where I want to take the whole family, the parents, the nephew, the siblings, and all go do some camping out there.
Do you all camp?
No, so this will be an experience.
That's off. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Okay.
I'm not a big camping type person, but I like to glamp,
Yeah.
So doing it at Walt Disney World, that's pretty much as the glamping that I'll get to. So
I don't know. It looks pretty much like camping. I've been over there. It looks camping to me. Like, I mean,
I guess it's more so not necessarily the traditional glamping, but
right.
like where I could camp, but I know that I'm in Walt Disney World.
Disney World, so that would make it okay. Yeah. I gotcha. Okay, let's move to the deluxe resorts over in the Epcot area, and those are the Boardwalk, the Yacht Club, and the Beach Club. Do y'all have any opinions about those?
The Boardwalk looks amazing.
That's where you want to stay. We talked about that last time.
I'm really looking forward to staying there because it looks like a vacation within a vacation.
Yeah, it's great. And it has really fun pools.
Except for the clown pool. That's kind of freaky.
Is that too scary? Yeah.
Clowns don't scare me, but that one in particular looks a little odd.
Yeah, I get it. George,
I love the look of the Boardwalk at night. Like as the sun is setting and they have all the lights on, it's very pretty.
My favorite place to stay over there is at the Yacht Club, and essentially the Yacht Club and the Beach Club are the exact same hotel. They're both quite large. The theming is a little bit different. One's beachy and one's boaty, but I loved. And the pool is so much fun, and you only get to use that pool if you're staying at the Yacht or Beach Club. So you can't go stay at the Pop Century and come over and use the pool at the Beach Club. So anyway, that's something to know. And it's great access to World Showcase at Epcot. So it's really easy to go and drink around the world if you want to do that. You can walk back to your room.
And it's
or stumble back to your room.
Right.
And it's also a good entranceway just to get into Epcot in general.
Yes, it is.
And compared to entering in through Future World, that side is more chaotic than entering into World Showcase.
Absolutely. Can you all think of any other things that we've left out tonight that we need to mention?
I have one question.
Yeah.
If our passengers wanted you to be their travel agent, how could they get in contact with you?
That's very sweet of you to ask. The best way to get in contact with me is via email, and my email is I'm a travel agent with MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, and my email is Caroline CAROLINE and then B as in boy at MEI-travel.com, and my name is Caroline Koller. So I would love to help any and all of you with your vacations.
I will make sure to put that in the show notes so they can link right to you.
Well, thank you very much. That was very kind. We want you all to have a wonderful time when you do go visit a Disney park. And so that's why it's fun for us to share these little tidbits that maybe you wouldn't think of until you've been there, made the mistake, or just experienced it for yourself. So thank you for traveling along and listening to us tonight. We hope we have been helpful to you. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And thank you for everything. Take it away, Ken. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. That was fun.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was.
If you would like to keep the adventure going after the show, be sure to like our Facebook friends page, Grand Circle Tour Magical Ticket Holders. While on Facebook, like our group page, Grand Circle Tour. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Grand Circle Tour Podcast, as well as Instagram, GCT Podcast, and our YouTube channel, Grand Circle Tour. If you would like to send us a message, you can email us at gctpodcast@gmail.com. T-shirts and other fun merchandise can be found at tpublic.com. Simply search Grand Circle Tour Podcast. If you enjoyed your adventure, leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Only one rule, make it good. Thank you for riding with us, and welcome home.